Greetings everyone, this is Johan Chapol on behalf of the FilmGeneral.com and for the No Limits Film Festival. I'm here with a very special guest, and to be honest, this is the very first interview for me, and the fact that I'm interviewing this man right now is just quite a fun thing for me. This is Marc Price, the director of Colin. So I want to start off with saying, why are you here?
Oh, well, thank you very much for having me. I'm honoured to be the first person you interview. I hope I'm a good person to interview, actually. I feel the pressure now. What was the question? See how bad I am, I've already forgotten.
Oh, right, okay. The thing is, you're currently here in Sheffield. I was able just about grab you. What is the reason why you're here in Sheffield?
I'm here for the No Limits Film Festival. I'm doing a talk on low-budget filmmaking, and I'm also presenting an award for production design, which I'm not entirely sure why I'm qualified to judge that, but I'm glad I got to see a bunch of really interesting films so I could decide. So.
Oh, that's absolutely awesome. Basically, the No Limits Film Festival is nothing but a student film. Has anything really surprised you here?
I think it really sort of shows that my film was very cheap. Looking at these movies, the first one that I looked at, which was when I was judging, I thought, wow, okay, that's the winner right there. And I saw the next one. Okay, and I realized that all of them were of this amazingly high standard. I thought, well, I guess, yeah, I'm out of my depth. No, I mean, everything's been incredible. The film that I awarded the prize to, The Magician's Wife, was just incredible. It really, I found it really affecting film that not just myself, because I couldn't make this decision by myself. I brought in some friends, and we all sort of sat and watched, and we all agreed that The Magician's Wife was the one that really deserved to win.
How did it feel to be a judge, especially since you have how many movies do you have to look over and pick?
It feels incredibly wrong to be a judge, because there's nothing I do that's any different to what every other filmmaker I've ever met does, which is grabbing the cameras, grabbing some actors, and just finding a way to tell their story. I just was stupid enough to be very honest about how little money we spent on it, which is normally the opposite way you go when you make a film. When you make a film, generally, I guess you try to pretend it costs a lot more, because then you can sell it to a distributor for a lot more. I was just thinking of the audience. I'm thinking, look, the audience needs to know this film didn't cost much money, so they'll at least give it a chance when they see that it's clearly shot on a camcorder. So yeah, I mean the guys who made these films are in a totally different league to me. I look up to these guys. I really don't understand why I'm the one that gets to decide whether which of their films is the best. Because as an audience, I can do that. So that's all I tried to do.
I wouldn't entirely say that, because I think while they've made these students made these short films, and you say they are of some fantastic high quality, you have made a full feature-length film on a budget of about 50 quid. One of the questions I want to ask is, how were you able to manage to make a film like that in such a small budget?
When you're making a film without any money, you kind of have to look at what you have rather than what you need to spend money on. And what we had with these incredible actors, these amazing locations. And we also knew what time of day we could go to these locations, when it would be quiet. So I designed a script based around that, really, and the story I wanted to tell fit into those restrictions, so that they didn't feel like restrictions, they felt like advantages, and that was just how we went about telling the story of Colin. I mean, we made a short film just to test the Canon 70s to see how they held up. And we made that film without spending any money, and it looks infinitely more expensive than Colin. But that's just because the technology's moved on to a point now where we can get hold of not necessarily a 5D or 7D, but a 550D, which is about, I think they're about £500. They're much cheaper they're about £1,000 cheaper than the Canons. And the other Canons, the 70 and the 5D, I mean. And the quality is fantastic. It looks great on a cinema screen.
You were basically just wanting to play about and experiment with this and see how you do, and it turned out to be fantastic. Did you really always want to make the story of Colin, or was it just like an idea of playing about and said, you know what, let's just go for it?
Funny enough, not that I ever planned that my first movie would be a horror movie. I think I just had this story I wanted to tell, and Colin was that story. And I looked at the script, and for a very brief moment I thought, should we try to get funding for it? Then I looked at what we had. We had a 50-page script that was essentially stage direction, because the character doesn't say anything. And I thought, well, you know what, no one's going to go for this. It's a story that is unclear until you get to that final act, and then you realize what your movie's about. And I kind of thought, this is going to be a tough sell. We could probably make this anyway. I wrote it with Alistair in mind. I'll just give him a call and see if he wants to do it. So I gave him a call, and he said he'd love to do it. And then, of course, along the way we met other people like Daisy Aitkins, Tat Wally, Leanne Pammon, and then we ended up just going out there and making the movie. I honestly didn't expect anyone to watch it except for my mates.
So basically, this is all for fun, in other words.
For me, filmmaking is fun, and I mean, I take it incredibly seriously, and I take the story that we're telling very seriously. But I don't like to create an environment where when we're making these films, where everyone feels that they're suffering or working and to the vision of a tyrant director. It just doesn't seem to be the best way to go about it, especially when people are coming down and giving up their time for you. Yeah. And I would always look and say, guys, wouldn't it be amazing if this was our job and we would get paid to do this? And so I kind of feel a responsibility with the next films we do to make sure that that's the environment we create, an environment that can thrive, where everyone can thrive creatively, and also for us to just be able to, have a lot of fun telling a story that we care about and it being a job.
Great thing is that I think we now probably know the reason why you're here at the film festival, mainly because you're kind of living out what every beginner student filmmaker is like. They always want to go like this and keep it fun and keep the vision going and really just go and push the idea. And you really much pulled that across by making Colin and your next possible future projects, maybe?
Thanks, man. That really means a lot. I mean, the next one we're doing, actually, because this is quite difficult for us to get financing, because I think Colin obviously isn't a shining example of a high production value film. It's not like like Monsters, for example, looks amazing, and the Gareth pulled that film in without spending huge amounts of money is kind of an achievement. Our film looks like what it is. It looks like a movie shot on a camcorder, edited in a bedroom. So I don't think it's an example of... So for me to go around and say, right, my next feature is going to be set in a World War II Handy-Page Halifax bomber. They're going to have a creature on it and a couple of actors. Give me a couple of $100,000, please. I can understand from a financier's point of view, they'll say, well, we're not entirely sure that you can make something that's going to look cinematic based on what you've done with the camcorder. So what I've been doing is the next film, well, whilst we're waiting for the finance for Thunderchild, which is the name of that movie, to sort itself out, I don't like sitting around twiddling my thumbs, so we just decided to make a very small personal drama. The film's called Magpie, and I'm in post-production on it now, so it's my second feature.
Fantastic. When will it roughly be out?
I'm not entirely sure. It should be finished. It'll be finished this year. Then it's just a case of seeing if any distributors like it enough to want to release it.
Are you hoping of the same luck you had with Colin?
I don't think the same thing's going to happen, unfortunately. Mainly because Magpie is not a genre film. It's a smaller film. There's a sort of a limited audience. But I do think that it's just nice to be able to tell a personal film, very small. Not that Colin wasn't personal. Colin was a very personal film to me, but I was hiding behind genre movie elements. So in a strange way, I was kind of protecting myself from some of the emotions I was sort of dealing with. But in Magpie, they're all there. They're right there. There's no hiding from them, and it's cathartic. I'd say.
That's a great word to use. So, in other words, then, are you trying to break out into like doing something else that isn't genre-based, or do you really have like a certain genre in your own heart that you really want to like really try out one day?
I want to do a bit of everything. I think I'm very greedy in terms of what I want to make as a filmmaker, if I ever get to call myself a filmmaker. But yeah, I mean, with Thunderchild, which I'd love to come to, once we finish Magpie, I'm very keen to do Thunderchild, so I'm hoping the finance comes through for that. And that's a genre film. That's kind of a World War II monster movie. So I say monster. That's a bit unfair. When I say monster, I think of gigantic creatures. It's a creature feature, I guess. So there's a little creature on the plane. But yeah, I love the idea of doing something that's just a ride, just fun. And then it can be both. I think the thing I really am proud of with Colin is that it is a movie with heart, but it's also a genre film. I mean, it doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be both. And I think Thunderchild is more of a ride of a film. It's there to shamelessly entertain. So that's what I'm looking forward to after Magpie.